Hello everyone, welcome to whatifissei becomes the freezing dragon emperor part 2. Before we start, please go support DragongodAstaroth for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. Chapter 2. Red Nova Slayer and the Limiter Eater. West Genetics, Boys Dormitory, Room 302, 2 hours after the fight with Ganessa. Issei Pav. It's been a couple hours since my fight with Ganessa, and I revealed myself as the Red Nova Slayer. When I made to my dorm room, I met a fellow first-year limiter named Arthur. A part of me wanted to cringe cause he reminded me of Kuo's Prince Kibayudo, but after talking to him for a bit, he seemed like a pretty cool to hang around with. To be honest, I felt it was a huge upgrade from Mitsuda and Motohama, since he didn't plainly talk about perverted stuff. Though he did like to brag about his partner, who I found out was actually Ganessa. I sweat dropped and told myself to not tell him that I gave her a beat down. Currently I was taking a shower thinking about what happened today, and after relieving there was one thing I couldn't get out of my mind, and that was Satellizor. No matter what I did, I couldn't get her out of my mind. Was it really because she reminded me of Cassandra? What is it that she reminded me of, Momo? Or was it I was actually starting to feel an attraction towards? Issei mind, nods. I need to stop thinking that. Sad, and you know damn well that it wouldn't work out. Besides, if for the best that she doesn't get too close to me. Serious, but I have to at least try to help get over her pahiba of being touched. I don't want her to end up alone like Momo almost did. Maybe I can try talking to her tomorrow. Greg. Curious, are you sure you want to do that, partner? I mean, in her eyes you didn't give off the impression. Issei mind, serious, I at least have to try. Dreg. Sad, and even if I'm not from this world I can't go on and leave with a good conscience that I could have at least tried to help her. Greg. Serious, well, I know better to try to stop you when you're like this, but all I can say is good luck. Issei mind, smiles. Thanks, Dreg. After a few more minutes of getting myself cleaned up, I stepped out of the shower and grabbed my towels. As I walked out of the bathroom with one of the towels wrapped around my waist and with me using the second one to dry off my hair, I couldn't help but smirk since someone was in my room. Though I was a bit surprised that she would confront me this soon. Issei. Smirks. I didn't think you would come this soon and confront me, auntie. Sitting on my bed was my aunt Chiffon Fairchild, or Chiffon Aoi to be more precise. She's the youngest out of all my aunts, as well as one of the 5 legendary Pandoras. She had a serious expression on her face, as well as having her eyes open, which were yellow similar to that of a Nova, meaning that she was completely dropping the whole cute and innocent act. Right now I was being face to face with the legendary unparalleled monster. Chiffon. Serious, how much do you know? Issei. Smirks. Geez, auntie, now hi Issei. No, how's my adorable little nephew doing? I mean, come on, we are technically family, right? Chiffon. Serious, answer the question. Summons Volt weapon or else I will have to make you talk. Issei. Serious, you seem to forget what happened earlier, auntie, and just letting you know that I was holding back a lot of strength when I fought Ganessa. Even if you were to try to fight me, I let you know it will not go in your favor, even if you are one of the 5 legendary Pandora. It was then I turned my eyes into slits, and I released a bit of my draconic energy to get my message across, which seemed to work since I could tell she was having a hard time keeping her nerves together. Even though I did feel bad for acting this way towards her, I needed to let her know that I would not just blindly give up everything just because she's my aunt. She thinks she's stronger than me. Issei. Serious, even without freezing, I'm stronger than all of the legendary Pandora put together. Chiffon mind, scared. What the hell is going on? What happened to his eyes? What is this energy that I'm feeling? It's so dense and powerful, it's like it's telling me to submit or else. A bit aroused. Why does it feel so good? Once I knew I got my message across, I reeled in my energy and returned my eyes back to normal. Issei. Serious, but to answer your question, I pretty much know everything. To what I am as well, who you really are, to what my grandfather is trying to accomplish, and the transcendent will and the other dimension. Chiffon. Serious, in that case, I'm curious about how you found out and how long you've known this secret. Issei. Smirks. Onto how I found out I cannot say just yet since not even grandfather is ready for that truth, and as for how long, about 10 years I've known what's been going on. Chiffon. Shocked, you've known about all this for 10 years and haven't said anything. Issei. Stares blankly. Chiffon. Gulps nervously. Serious, in any case, how many people know about this since you just said my father knows nothing about this? Issei. Serious, just 2. The first one being Sister Kazuha before she died. I actually tried to convince her not to go and that I would take care of Nova, but she was adamant on going and got the drop on me and knocked me out before her final battle with the Type S. I think deep down she was already aware that she was about to turn into a Nova, so decided to at least make sure could die protecting this world. Chiffon. Surprised, huh? Issei. Smiles. The second person to believe it or not that I told was grandmother of all people. Chiffon. Confused. Grandmother? Eyes widen in realization. You mean? Issei. Smiles. That's right, Maria Lancelot. Chiffon. Shocked. Are you telling me that you're able to speak to my mother? Issei. Nods yup, for a few years actually. She is honestly a sparkling conversationalist once you get to know her. Chuckles, you wouldn't believe it, but she loves gossip, and every time I would visit her, she would always ask me for the latest gossip either in school or in life in general. Sighs an annoyance, though it does get pretty annoying when she pesters me about my love life. She would always ask me when I was going to have kids, and that she wants her first great-granddaughter to be named after her. Chiffon mind, dumbfounded, what the hell is mother really like this? As a person blushes, what the hell is about her wanting great-grandchildren, where is still a war? Chiffon. Blushes while coughing into her mouth. Well, in any case, that is good to know, since originally I came to let you know that Ms. Schnitz wants you to come by her office after classes tomorrow, since she wants a deep scan of your body, since as you know it's impossible the things you did today. Ms. Kim will be there as well since she wants a statement from you about why you attacked Ms. Roland. Issei. Sighs, I'd figured as much, but I hope they know that they won't find anything useful to explain why I'm able to use vol textures on top of freezing. Serious, even grandfather, who probably has most likely heard what happened by now, wouldn't be able to figure it out. Smiles, to put it simply, not only I'm the first but also the last male Pandora that will ever exist. Chiffon. Confused, the first and the last. Issei. Smirks, anyway, even though I would love to continue talking and catching up with you, auntie, I believe it is getting kind of late, and as you can see I'm still wearing my towel and would like to go to bed. Chiffon. Serious, of course, forgive me, I didn't think about letting you have the time to change. Issei. Smiles, I actually sleep naked. Chiffon. Completely red, what? Issei. Confused, what? It's completely normal and it feels a lot more comfortable to sleep naked. Chiffon. Completely red, I'm just gonna go now. Issei. Smiles, oh, and auntie. Chiffon. Serious, what is it? Issei. Smiles warmly, you should really smile more, you're a lot cuter that way. Chiffon. Blushes, wow, what? Issei. Chuckles while still having one eye open, I didn't think that the unparalleled monster would get flustered so easily. You must be truly turning human. Smiles warmly, which is good, hopefully you'll start to truly value and importance of humanity. Chiffon. Serious, you truly are a fool, nephew, if you think that humanity has any value or importance, especially with the path they're heading towards now is unavoidable. Even with everything my father has tried doing, it is pointless in the end. He can try all he wants, but fighting against the heavens is pointless. Even though you should know that, and don't lie to me since you're not human as well, and I can tell that you see no hope for humanity. We might as well enjoy the time we have left, even deep down my father knows that. Issei. Smirks, you're right, I don't believe in humanity. Humans are lonely and stupid creatures, every last one of them with no exceptions. Smiled, sadly, I should know I was once one of them, or maybe a part of me still is, I still haven't entirely figured it out. Chiffon. Confused while tilting her head. Issei. Smirks, however, I believe in humanity's potential. Chiffon. Surprised, huh? Issei. Smirks, yes, it is true that humanity is destined to evolve into something greater than itself, there is no way to change that, because it's been set since the dawn of creation. But the thing that you and grandfather forget is that there is more than one path to go on to evolve. Chiffon. Shocked, huh? Issei. Serious, both you and grandfather have forgotten that evolution is not a singular pattern. Even grandmother thought the same when I told her my purpose for being here. Chiffon mind, curious, his purpose for being here? Issei. Serious, what grandfather is trying to do is only one of infinite possibilities where humanity may evolve into, and the only reason he is struggling is because he's trying to force it, in which the law of the universe itself is only stopping him, because humanity needs to adjust to the change, not even the transcendent will can control that. Annoyed, honestly, all three of you are complete idiots for not seeing that in the first place. Chiffon. Surprised, huh? Issei. Serious, surprised that even something like the transcendent will has limits, both me and grandfather's birth are living proof of that statement. Before you go, auntie, let me tell you a little secret. Chiffon. Nervous, what's that? Issei. Grins, even a god can die or be killed. Chiffon. Eyes widen in disbelief, huh? Chiffon mind, confused, even God can be killed, what does he mean by that? Eyes widen in realization, don't tell me is his purpose to destroy the transcendent will? Chiffon. Serious, I see, I will take what you said into consideration, though I hardly doubt it will change what I think. Good night, Issei. Issei. Chuckles, have a good night, Chiffon. Once Chiffon finally left my room, I took off a towel that I had on my waist and threw it in the hamper. I then looked out the window towards the night sky, all while having a satisfying grin on knowing that the transcendent will was essentially glaring at me due to my existence here. Issei. Grins, annoyed, aren't you? Even with those extra nova you sent as assassins to take me out, it still didn't get the job done. All the while you can't do anything about it, all that power, and you can't do anything with it. Smirks, honestly, if you would have kept your nose to these two dimensions, then me and father wouldn't be cutting your little food supply and interfering with your business. Serious, but you got greedy and thought you could try to take over our world next. Honestly, the sheer arrogance of you is uncanny, and that is why by the end of this year, you will die by my hands. But that declaration I made, I decided to head to bed since I wanted to get enough sleep to get up early and do my early morning training. But not before going to my sacred gear and promising the beatdown that I made to Drag. Scene change, third year dormitory, third POV. Within one of the rooms of the third year girls' dormitory, there was a woman with blue hair that was cut short. She has brown eyes and a sizable bust. She was currently wearing lingerie while 3 boys were carefully messaging her body, all while drinking some wine. This woman is Miyabi Kanazuki, a third year at West Genetics, but she is known by most students as the limiter eater. She was currently drinking some wine since she heard there was a first year who just transferred and supposedly he was extremely handsome, but what surprised her was that he also single-handedly defeated the first-ranked second-year Ganessa Roland, which got her even more curious. Miyabi smiles, a first-year boy and a transfer student to boat, fascinating. But the question remains, is he qualified to receive my blessing? Show me. It was then one of her limiters presented a holographic photo of a boy with black spiky hair with red accents and blood-red eyes. Miyabi couldn't help but blush at the sight of a boy that handsome, but what really got her aroused was the next picture of him with his abs being exposed. Miyabi couldn't help but be aroused of what it would be like to sleep with a boy like him. Miyabi smiles, he is rather cute, isn't he? I, Miyabi Kanazuki, deem him to receive baptism, licks lips as the limiter eater, it's my job to gobble him up. Scene change, West Genetics, Class 1A. Next day, we currently see Issei in front of his homeroom class introducing himself, everyone in awe, since most of the school by now has heard that he was the legendary Red Nova Slayer. Many of the girls in class couldn't help but blush at the sight of how handsome he was, while the guys couldn't help but rage and envy, since they think that Issei was gonna hog all the girls for himself, in which they were not entirely wrong, since already he has been asked by a lot of the second years and some third years if he could be their limiter. But he politely rejected all of them, since he didn't want to perform the baptism with any of the girls, because he didn't believe he would ever be ready to let someone be that close to him ever again. After thinking it over, he decided to maybe ask Satellizor to be her limiter, since he can technically perform a freezing with the Raynare set, and she most likely didn't want to perform the baptism, either due to her phobia. He thought it would be the perfect team up given their circumstances. In which Satellizor can have a limiter that casts freezing without performing a baptism, and Issei doesn't have to do it either, but he can also hopefully help her get past phobia of being touched. Issei smirks up, names Issei Aoi and the most baddest person that any of you are ever going to smack. You me. Serious language. Issei rubs his head in pain. Ow, that hurt you me-chan. Smack. Issei rub his head in pain again. Ow, you me. Serious, that sensei to you, young man. Issei sighs, fine, forgive me sensei. You me. Serious, that's better. Now then you can take whatever seat is available. Issei smiles, hi. You me mind, sighs, honestly Issei, I know you were kind of rebellious back when you were a kid, but those 4 years while you were away now made you a complete delinquent. Sad, and what happened to you? As Issei was walking towards the back where there was an empty desk, he noticed that Arthur wasn't here since he said that they would be in the same class, but then he realized that he was Ganessa's limiter and was probably at the medical wing checking up on her. But he also heard some of the whispering about him. Random girl 1 whisper, smiles, oh my god, he's so hot. Random girl 2 whisper, smiles, yeah, and I'm totally digging the bad boy vibe he's giving off. Issei mind, serious, why do I feel like I'm going to get into some crazy mix up with the girls in this school? Greg grins, well, look at that, your dream of having a harem is actually possible now, since all these girls already want to get in bed with you. Issei mind, serious, not interested, besides I'm a dragon who is gonna live for practically an eternity, well the girls here will be gone before I even blink, and maybe even before that if the Nova were to show up. Eyes closed, besides, it would never work out for me or any of them. Greg curious, then why put the effort in for that Elbridget girl, then? Issei mind, saddened because if I don't do something then the sadness and loneliness on her face will haunt me for the rest of eternity. That is why I must do everything in power to help her come out of her shell and show her that life is worth living. Greg serious, I hope you know that it's not gonna be easy since she still hates your guts for touching her and most likely stepping in her fight. Issei mind, sighs, sadly it never is. Drag, it never is. Scene change, West Genetics, cafeteria. Issei had just entered the school's cafeteria, which he had to admit was a million times better than Akuo. Of course, as soon as he entered the room he was already the center of attention, which he found pretty annoying. He now finally understood why his father hated being stared at for all those centuries. As he was deciding on what to eat, one of his classmates came up to him. It was a girl with reddish-brown hair that was cut short in the back and ran down just past her cheeks. She wears a green hair clip on the left side of her auburn tresses. She has light brown eyes, as well as a slender physique. She wears the standard genetics uniform, and if Issei remembered correctly she was his class rep. Smiles. Hi there. Issei. Turns his head curiously. Smiles and waves. My name is Keiho Hiragi, I'm our class rep. Please meet you. Issei. Smiles warmly. Nice to meet you Keiho, I'm Issei Aoi, but something tells me you already knew that. After that Issei got himself some steak while got herself some Burger Queen, which she explained to him that he would need to pay for it, unlike the other things to eat, but it has become quite popular. Right now, they are currently eating there while Keiho was gonna tell Issei that she saw him yesterday against Ganessa. Keiho whisper. Smiles. I saw you yesterday, you know. Issei. Curious huh? Keiho. Imitating Issei. This joke gone on long enough, don't you think? Issei. Raises an eyebrow, which meant you probably saw how it ended. Keiho. Nods. Concerned, but why would protect someone like her? Issei. Confused. Someone like who? Keiho. Concerned. The untouchable queen, duh. Issei. Sighs. Like I said, I believe in a fair fight more or less, and even though she definitely could have taken down Ganessa no problem, but it also would have meant she would have to go back the medical wing, as well as getting into trouble with the school. Smirks. Since I wasn't technically a student yet, I couldn't really get myself into that much trouble. Sad, and plus it was also kind of my fault that she got like that in the first place, since I kind of just stood there like an idiot carrying her, or else she would have easily won the carnival. Keiho. Shocked. So the only reason Ganessa was able to defeat the queen was because you stepped in. Issei. Sighs. Yup, I just Arthur doesn't find out and hold a grudge. It was then Issei felt a hand on his shoulder, in which he turned around to see a boy with blonde hair and blue eyes. He is normally seen wearing the standard limiter school uniform. This person was Arthur Krypton, the boy that Issei chatted with yesterday in his dorm room before Chiffon came over. Arthur. Smiles. I see you. Introduce yourself to the new kid. Keiho. Smiles happily. Arthur. Issei. Smirks up. Arthur. It was then Arthur joined them at the table, all the Keiho letting Issei know that he should stay away from Satellaizer, in which he told her that it was not nice to judge someone who they don't even know. As soon as Issei said that, the Satellaizer came into the cafeteria heading towards the Burger Queen, which caused everyone to scatter. Seeing this is probably the best time to talk to Satellaizer, he approached her, but being the idiot he is sometimes, he grabbed onto Satellaizer's wrist, which caused everyone to stare at Issei with absolute shock that someone actually touched the untouchable queen. Issei. Serious. Satellaizer. Wait. Satellaizer. Shocked huh? Issei. Serious. Look, I just want to talk to you about. Looks at his hand to quickly remove it. Oh shit, sorry about that. This startled Satellaizer, which caused her to drop some of her Burger Queen bags. Issei quickly picked them up and went after Satellaizer, who was already heading towards the rooftop. Scene change. School rooftop. We see Satellaizer on top of one of the many buildings in West Genetics alone and essentially hugging her knees. She was confused. Ever since meeting Issei, the young blonde couldn't get him out of his mind. Even though he has touched a few times already, she didn't feel that awful sensation like the others. Then there were his eyes. Even though it looked like he had a cocky and confident facade going around, for some reason Satellaizer could sense a deep pain inside Issei, a pain that he doesn't want anybody to know about, as well as a deep sense of loneliness. Satellaizer mind, saddened and confused. He touched me, but I didn't feel those horrible sensations. Those eyes of his, why is it when I look deep into them all I can see a deep pain inside of him and such loneliness? Is he like me? Satellaizer was then brought out of her thoughts when she saw the person she was thinking about bringing her the burgers that she dropped. Issei. Smiles. Here, I think you dropped this. Satellaizer. Turns her head away in shyness. It was then Issei decided to sit next to Satellaizer, which caught off guard. Issei discreetly placed a minor sound suppression barrier, since he could tell there were eyes on the both of them and they didn't want them to hear what they were gonna talk about. Issei. Sighs. Look, I don't want to take up your time, so I'll get straight to the point. I'm sorry that I interfered with your fight in the carnival. I know that if I didn't interfere, then you would have easily won that and still be number 1 in your year. I'm also sorry for stepping in between you and Ganessa yesterday, since I know even with your injuries I knew you would have won no problem. Saddened, but most importantly I'm sorry that I touched you, especially given your trauma. That last statement shocked Satellaizer, since how did know about her phobia being touched? Satellaizer. Eyes narrowed. How do you know about that? Issei. Sad in your eyes, and don't worry, I haven't told anyone, it's not my secret to tell, just I like to have secrets I don't want people to know. Satellaizer. Surprised huh? Issei. Saddened. When you placed your blade to my throat I saw the look in your eyes, I saw those exact same eyes in a very good friend of mine. Her name was Momo Hankai. Before what happened we didn't really know each other or interact. But one day after school during my first year in middle school, I was coming out of the convenience store and was about to head home until I heard some muffled screaming coming from the alleyway next to the store. When I saw what was happening I was both disgusted and horrified. I saw Momo being molested by some ugly bastard. Of course I went in and beat up the bastard and called the cops, but I was too late and the damage was already done and she was traumatized by what happened. Even though the guy was sent to life in prison, Momo was still sensitive to people touching her, not even her parents weren't allowed to touch her, that's how traumatized she was. The only person that she was okay with was me and it honestly made me feel horrible. Sadlizer. Curious why. Issei. Saddened because it made me feel that the only reason why she felt okay with me is because I saved her, and don't get me wrong, I was glad I was someone that she could rely on, but at the same time I felt like I was holding her back. During the rest of our first year in middle school she practically clinged on to like a life support system. Whenever I was not around or not at school, she would easily break down or randomly beat up students just because someone accidentally touched her. So I made it my responsibility to try to help Momo overcome her fear and hopefully help her understand that not everyone was out to get her and that the world is not as scary as she made it out to be. Sadlizer. Curious, how did that go? Issei. Smiles softly. It was hard, but slowly but surely she started to come out of her shell. She even took some self-defense classes to help boost her confidence a bit. It was then we started to become real friends. Though we slowly started to drift apart during my first term of being a freshman in high school. Sadlizer. Curious, why did you guys start to drift apart? Issei. Smiles fondly. Well, she joined the student council and slowly her duties made it so that we couldn't hang out anymore. It was then I decided to keep the promise I made to my sister and become a limiter and help to put an end to the Nova. Sadlizer. Saddened. Did you feel sad or betrayed? Issei. Smiles while nodding. On the contrary, I was actually happy for her. Sadlizer. Surprised, huh? Issei. Smiles fondly. My goal was to help come out of her shell and be happy, and if that meant we stopped hanging out, then I was up for it. Besides, what kind of guy would I be if I didn't want my friends to be happy? It was then Sadlizer was both amazed and saddened that someone went through something similar to her. She thought to herself that Momo was one lucky girl to have a guy like Issei to save her and help her get over her phobia. It was then what Issei said next that shocked her completely. Issei. Smiles. Oh, and if you didn't know, my name is Issei A.K.A. Sadlizer. Surprised. A.K.A. You mean? Issei. Smiles while nodding. That's right, my older sister was Kazuha A.K.A. and the hero of the 8th Nova Clash. Sadlizer. Amazed. Issei. Curious. Anyway, I have a proposition for you. Sadlizer. Confused. A proposition? Issei. Nods. And that I was wondering if you would consider me being your limiter. Sadlizer. Blushes while being shocked. Huh? Issei. Sighs. Now before you freak out and bluntly say no, hear me out. Sadlizer. A bit pink. Issei. Serious. Even though you are a very powerful Pandora, despite being a second year, you won't go far or even be able to fight the Nova without a limiter to provide a freezing point. As you saw yesterday, I can perform a freezing without a rainbow set or being baptized, and seeing you have your personal problem, I think it would work best if we team up. Sadlizer. Confused, but I don't get it. Mostly everyone saw yesterday as well that you can summon vault weapons and you abilities that only we Pandora can use. You even did a quadruple acceleration, and there is only one Pandora in the entire world that can do that. Issei. Smirks. Cassie Lockhart. Sadlizer. Surprised. Do you know her? Issei. Smiles. Not personally, but I consider it to be my personal duty to see who my sister's stigmata end up with. Sadlizer. Surprised. Huh? Issei. Smirks while winking. Sadlizer. Surprised. You knew. Lowers her head in embarrassment. You probably think I'm an embarrassment, don't you, and that I don't deserve your sister's stigmata, huh? Issei. Stares blankly. Flick. Sadlizer. Rubbing her head in pain. Oh, what was that for? Issei. Stoic. You're an idiot. Sadlizer. Confused. Huh? Issei. Serious. I haven't once told you that you weren't worthy to have my sister's stigmata. If I thought as much I would have said when we first met or even before that. Sighs. Look, the fact you had the lowest compatibility out of every girl who could have gotten them but was still able to bond with them says something. Smirks. Ever since you received my sister's stigmata, I've been keeping an eye on your progress as Pandora, and I think I can say with confidence it was the right choice for you to receive my sister's stigmata. Sadlizer. Blushes nervously. But why? I mean, even the doctors said that the chances of me being compatible were literally non-existent and that it was literally impossible that they bonded with me. Issei. Smiles fondly. I think you forgot whose stigmatas you are wearing on your back. Sadlizer. Confused. Huh? Issei. Smiles fondly. Do you know that the high-end skills like acceleration turn and tempest turn that are taught by third years were invented by my sister Kazuha? Back then the scientists, including my grandfather, believed what my sister did thought to be impossible. Sadlizer. Shocked and amazed. Huh? Issei. Smiles fondly. Sadlizer, I want you to know that whenever I see someone who has my sister's stigmata, I like to believe they carry an important aspect about her. Looks at Sadalizer with a heartwarming smile. I think you carry the aspect of her being able to do things that are considered impossible. You already did so when her stigmata already bonded to you. If you really want to become a powerful Pandora, then stop doubting yourself because you have the potential to be one of the best. Sadalizer couldn't help but be in awe of Issei's words, not alone blushing a bit from the kindness from his words and that he meant every word of it. She finally started to understand why this Momo girl was so attached to Issei even after overcoming her trauma. She thought to herself of maybe what if Issei was there for her during those dark times, then she wouldn't hate the world as much. Sadalizer slightly blushes while smiling softly. Thank you Issei, that means a lot coming from you especially. Issei smiles warmly. Of course Sadalizer, as for the deal, the reason why I'm asking you for me to be my limiter is because even though I have the abilities of a Pandora, I'm still a guy, which means I can still technically be someone's limiter. Already I have had a bunch of girls from second and third years asking me to become their limiters. You have no idea how hard it has been playing Heartbreaker. Sad, and plus just like you I don't want to perform the baptism. That last statement shocks Sadalizer, since every guy who finds out what the baptism is they always jump in joy since they know which that entails. Sadalizer blushes nervously. Issei, are you telling me that you swing for the other team? Issei deadpan no. Sadalizer embarrassed, oh well that's a relief I guess. Issei looks up to the sky with a saddened expression. I'm just not ready to be that close to someone again. Sadalizer concerned. Issei Greg laughs out loud. Ha, you almost got put into the gay best friend group. Issei mind, annoyed. Buck you. Greg snickers. Sorry I don't swing that way. Issei mind, annoyed. I'm going to hurt you. Issei serious. So what do you think about the deal? Seems pretty good, right? And we both benefit from it. I won't have girls constantly bugging me to be their limiter, and you don't worry about some dumb and horny guy trying to convince you to be their limiter, and both of us don't have to deal with the baptism. I say it's a win-win all around. Sadalizer blushes a bit in shyness while turning away. I don't know. Issei smiles while gently grabbing her hands together. Listen. Sadalizer blushes in surprise. Huh? Issei smiles. You don't have to give me your answer right now. I know that this is a lot to take in and it looks like I'm trying to rush or force things on you, but I'm not. All I ask is to please give yourself some time to think about it, and when you have your answer you either can come find me either in my dorm room or in hangar. Sadalizer blushes in shock. Miyabi smiles. My, what do we have here? Issei Sadalizer turn their heads in curiosity. When they both turned back they saw a girl with blue hair that was cut short. She has brown eyes and a sizable bust. She was currently wearing the West Genetics girl's uniform and behind her were three boys who seemed to be limiters. This girl was Miyabi Kanazuki, otherwise known as the Releaser of Chastity, or to be better known as the Limiter Eater. When Issei saw her and her band of simps there was only one word that came to both Issei and Drake's mind. Issei Drake mind, serious. Holy shit, it's a thought. Miyabi smiles. This is a weird place to perform a baptism, trust me when I say this, and that it's a lot more special when it's behind closed doors, unless you're into strangers watching. Issei curious while raising an eyebrow. And who the buck you are? Miyabi smiles. My, you're a feisty one, I like that. If you must know, I'm known as the Release of Chastity, Miyabi Kanazuki, and I'm a third-year student. Issei confused with his eyebrow still raised. Okay, good for you. Meanwhile on top of the exit of the roof were Arthur and Keiho, who followed Issei after he went after Sadalizer since they were worried for his safety. Though for some reason they couldn't hear exactly everything on what the two were talking about, they did hear Issei about asking Sadalizer to be her limiter, which shocked both of them since they both thought he was gonna be beaten up for sure. That was when Miyabi showed up, and when they saw how Issei was acting towards her, Keiho had a feeling that it wasn't going to end well, so she told Arthur to get some help. Miyabi chuckles. My, you really don't get it, do you? I'm your senior and as such I demand your respect. Issei eyes narrowed. My respect? Everyone surprised. Huh? Issei serious. Listen here, whatever your name is, I don't give a flying buck if you're my senior. If you want my respect then your ass is gonna have to earn it, and so far you are off to a bad start. Everyone was beyond shocked by what Issei just said. The fact he was talking down to an upperclassman was like essentially the biggest disrespect anyone could do at this school. Sadalizer was in awe of the defiance and confidence in Issei's words, and when she saw Issei from behind, she saw someone she wanted to reach in terms of both confidence and power. It was like he was a goal she wanted to reach. Meanwhile Drake couldn't help but grin in absolute joy and pride on how his little brother was showing everyone know of his draconic nature and that he doesn't take shit from nobody. Issei serious. Now then, if we're done here we'll be on our way. Forgive me Sadalizer, I truly didn't mean to bring unwanted attention to you, but of course me being me that unavoidable as it seems. As Issei and Sadalizer started to walk away from the scene, Miyabi called them out for his disrespect. Miyabi annoyed. Wait. Issei Sadalizer curious. Miyabi Annoyed, you think I'm gonna let you get away from disrespecting me, a senior? I was gonna offer my baptism, but it seems I need to break you in on the rules on how things truly work here at West Genetics. Issei. Serious sorry, but I'm not interested in joining your little band simps here, and like I said, if you want my respect, then you have to earn it. The limiters. Annoyed, hey. It was then Sadalizer activated her weapon since she knew that a fight was about to break out, but it was then Issei put his hand on her blade and gestured to put it down. Sadalizer. Confused, what are you doing? Issei. Smiles, this is my fight, they are after me, and I want to keep it that way. Besides, I don't want you to get in trouble because of my mess. Sadalizer. Blushes, huh. Miyabi. Smiles, it's best not to underestimate me, boy. It was then Miyabi ran up to Issei hoping to deliver a fatal punch to him, only to be shocked that Issei easily countered the punch with a punch of his own to the gut that sent her back to her limiters. Miyabi. Groans in pain, how the hell? Issei. Serious, it seems you have forgotten the first rule of any form of combat, never underestimate your opponent. Miyabi. Annoyed, why you little? Volt weapon deployed, homing daggers. It was then 6 floating daggers surrounded her. Miyabi. Smiles, now then little boy, if you apologize now then I may be able to forgive you, and if I'm up for it, I might still give you baptism. Issei. Sighs in annoyance, you still don't get it, do you? Miyabi. Confused, huh? Issei. Serious, now then let us blast our way out of the confines known as fate. Volt weapon deployed twin draconic blasters. It was then 2 bladed pistols appeared on Issei's hands, with one being a mixture of black and red, while the other was black and white. He quickly shot off each of the knives with perfect accuracy. This shocked everyone, especially Miyabi, since there was no way this boy could possibly produce a volt weapon. Sadalizer was even more shocked since she thought Issei's volt weapon was that sword she saw him use yesterday. Sadalizer. Shocked and confused, wait a minute, I thought your volt weapon was Draconic Revolution. Issei. Smirks, it is, these are my second volt weapon, twin draconic blasters. Sadalizer. Shocked, wait, so you have 2 volt weapons, that's impossible. Issei. Smirks, well actually I have 4, but that's a story for another time. Sadalizer mind, shocked, I can't believe he's able to deploy 4 different volt weapons, how many tricks does this one boy have? Miyabi. Smirks, while also being annoyed, well I must admit you caught me by surprise. I didn't think you, a boy, would be able to produce a volt weapon. Issei. Smirks, well I've been told by my parents that I tend to make the impossible possible. Miyabi. Smirks, well don't be too cocky, because even if you can produce a volt weapon doesn't mean you have the abilities that every Pandora has. Acceleration turn. It then disappeared in a burst of speed heading straight for Issei. Issei being somewhat annoyed that this bitch hasn't gotten the hint and decided to end this quickly. Issei. Size quadruple acceleration. It was then Issei also vanished in a burst of speed, but was 4 times faster than Miyabi, which shocked to no end since this boy can also perform an acceleration turn, and not only that, he was faster than her. Before she could react properly, Issei sent a powerful kick to the gut which sent her flying past her limiters and straight towards the wall rail, which bent a little from the impact. The limiters. Concern, Miss Miyabi. Issei. Serious, I think this little scrap is over now, we should probably get going. Sadalizer. Sadalizer. Alright. Miyabi. Annoyed, stop right there. Issei. Sighs in annoyance, you got to be bucking kidding me, what? Miyabi. Annoyed, you got some nerve to rebel against the hierarchy of this academy, but since you can't get it through that thick skull of yours, I'll make you submit so that I can properly drill it into your head now then. A rainbow set. The limiters. Serious freezing. It was then all 3 of Miyabi's limiters casted a freezing on both Issei and Sadalizer. Issei was only down on one knee since they caught him off guard, since normally this level freezing is nothing to him. But that didn't help since Issei was still pretty bucking annoyed. Issei. Annoyed, okay, now you are starting to piss me off. Freezing. It was then casted his own freezing area which destroyed the combined freezing of all 3 of Miyabi's limiters. It was then Issei's body started to glow a deep emerald color and had a dominating presence around it which spread throughout the academy. Students and staff felt the strange and immense power which caused most of them to have trouble breathing and standing up. His eyes started to glow red and turned reptilian-like slits which scared everyone in the area. But what scared everyone the most was the visage that they saw behind Issei. Behind him was a giant red western dragon with red eyes staring down menacingly at Miyabi and her limiters. Issei. Annoyed, honestly, I would think someone like you would understand when you are outmatched, but you think just because you're a 3rd year that automatically makes you think you can take on anyone. It's arrogant people that just pisses me off. It was then Chiffon, Taisi, Yumi, Elise, and Arthur came through the door and saw what was happening, but before they could do or say anything since felt they saw the aura that Issei was producing and were even more shocked of the visage of the dragon standing behind him. They couldn't help but stand there in fear. Chiffon mind, scared, what the hell? This is like when I confronted him but a whole lot more intense. He's even more of a monster than I am. Yumi mind, scared what the hell is going on, what is this power that's coming off of Issei, it's telling me to submit or else. Eli's mind, scared this power is immense, I can barely keep myself standing. All of the mind, scared is that even Issei? Yumi. Serious Issei, stop this right now. It was then Issei casually looked over to Yumi and the others, both Yumi and Eli's, were shocked by the change in Issei's eyes, it was like he wasn't even human anymore. Issei finally seeing the fear in everyone's eyes, he decided to breathe in and reel in back his power. When he was done he put on a goofy smile to help put everyone at ease. Issei. Grins while scratching the back of his head nervously, whoops, looks like I went a little overboard, didn't I? Yumi. Collects herself, serious, what happened here? Issei. Chuckles nervously, would you believe me if I said that we were having a very sensitive and intense argument? Yumi. Looks at the bent guardrail, an argument, eh? Eli's. Serious, well I don't see any real injuries, just some minor bruising, she'll be okay by tomorrow. Issei. Smiles, see nothing happened, so can we just let bygones be bygones and enjoy our day? Yumi. Serious, no, and since you caused quite the stir with that power you released, we're gonna move that appointment you had with us to right now. Issei. Puffs his cheeks while pouting, do I have to? Yumi Eli's saddleizer chiffon ticey mind, blushes so cute. Eli's. Smiles teasingly, oh look, our pouty prince has returned. Issei. Annoyed, stop bucking calling me that. Yumi. Serious language. Issei. Sighs, fine, Yumi-chan. Smack. Yumi. Serious, it's sensei to you young man. Issei. Rubs his head, oh fine Yumi-sensei. Yumi. Serious, good, now march young man. Issei. Sighs, hi.oh and saddleizer. Saddleizer. Curious, yes. Issei. Turns back to her with a heartwarming smile, I hope what I did didn't make you want to not make a decision about my proposition. Like I said, please take your time and think it over, you know where to find me when you have your answer, winks. Saddleizer. Blushes him. It was then Issei followed Yumi and Eli's to the medical wing, not knowing that the energy that he released essentially became a signal which caught the attention of a certain trickster god from his world and would follow up on it real soon. All the while there was someone who was watching the whole incident from the next building next to them, of course, Issei knew there was someone there, hence part of the reason why he put the sound suppression barrier. The person watching was a small, petite girl with short, silvery white hair and light brown eyes. Her hair is twisted into two curls tails at both sides of her head, giving it somewhat of a typhoon shape. She wears the standard genetics girl's uniform. This girl was Atcha Simmons, who is ranked 6th among the 3rd years. She was asked by Elizabeth Mabley, who is ranked 2nd in their year, to keep on both Saddleizer and Issei, since she heard all of the trouble those two were causing, and she currently trying steal herself, after watching Issei take down Miyabi, like if she just an annoying pest, as well as bearing witness Issei's power firsthand. Ida. Serious, this boy can mean serious trouble if not put on a leash. I guess maybe Ingrid can help bring order to this first year. Scene change. Medical wing, Eliza's office. Issei was currently in Eliza's office in the medical wing and had just explained to them about what happened with Miyabi and how it all started, except for the part about Saddleizer and their proposition, of course. Issei. Serious, and that's what happened. Yumi. Sighs, I see. Eliza. Serious still though, wasn't there any way for you to leave without getting into a fight? Issei. Sighs, I told her to stand down, but of course she wouldn't listen, which really annoyed the hell out of me. Eliza. Sighs, I guess when you put it like that, I guess there was no way out of it without getting into a scrap. Yumi. Serious, but that doesn't change the fact you still need to respect your seniors, remember they have a lot more experience than you. Issei. Raise an eyebrow, you're really gonna tell me that when both of you know who I really am? I have fought and killed more Nova than all of those girls ever will in their entire lives, and let me tell you, if they keep up stupid hierarchy attitude, then they might as well be cannon fodder for the Nova, you two out of everyone here should know that. Both Eliza and Yumi couldn't help but stay silent since they knew deep down inside that Issei was right. No matter what year or how much they train, even taking down a single Nova can very easily result in their death. If it wasn't for Kazuha, then both of them would be here right now. But it did remind them of an important question that they wanted to ask Issei. Yumi. Curious, hey Issei, we need to know. How long have you really been the Red Nova Slayer, since he didn't start popping up until 8 years ago? Issei. Size 8 years I have been killing Nova, I think I've killed around 23 Nova by myself. Eliza. Shocked you've been doing this since you were 8 years old. Yumi. Shocked, and you haven't told anyone this? Issei. Serious, if I told anyone about this then no doubt Chevalier would just hook me up to a bunch of machines and perform experiments on me so they could try to replicate me, which will no doubt result in my death in the process. Sadden, the only person I told this to was Kazuha right before she died. I tried to convince not to go and that I would do it, but she adamant on fighting the Nova and of course before do anything else to stop her, she used acceleration turn when my guard was down and knocked me out and by the time I came to it was too late. Yumma A.K.A. Sadden Issei. A.K.A. Sadden, but why essentially reveal yourself now? Issei. Serious simple, I got tired standing on the sidelines fighting this war. I may not like Chevalier, but I won't stand by when girls like my sister are gonna give their lives when I can easily help stop them from losing it. Yumma. Sadden, I see, that does sound like something you would do and I'm sure Kazuha would be proud of you right now. Issei. Serious, thank you. A.K.A. Confused, but here's what I don't get, you said you've killed 21 Nova, but that's impossible since there's only been 9 official Nova encounters. Issei. Serious, yeah, officially. A.K.A. Yumma. Confused, huh? Issei. Sighs, look, it's probably best not to tell Sister Margaret or Chevalier, but in actuality there have been about 29 Nova encounters. In which all of you saw me in 2 of them. A.K.A. Yumma. Shocked, what? Issei. Serious, what I'm about to show you is considered classified, but since I essentially revealed myself it won't really matter. It was then I took out my communicator and showed the holograms of all of the destroyed Nova I've taken care of in the past 8 years. Yumma. Shocked, what is this? A.K.A. Shocked, are those Nova? Issei. Serious, yes, this is footage of all the Nova I've destroyed in the past 8 years. As Issei scrolling through the pictures, both Yumma and A.K.A. couldn't believe their eyes since they didn't believe that the boy they knew was risking his life over and over again without them even knowing. But the last picture that Issei showed made them go deathly pale. Yumma. Horrified, this can't be. A.K.A. Horrified, Ice, please tell me this is a joke and this some kind of Photoshop. There's no way you fought through this and came out unscathed. Issei. Serious, it's real. A.K.A. Yumma. I will not lie that it was fairly tough fight, but I made it out with at least a few scratches. I'm pretty sure I was 14 when this battle happened, I was even forced to use my 4th volt weapon in order to win. What Yumma and A.K.A. saw in front of them was a picture of 6 destroyed Type S Nova at the same time. Yumma and A.K.A. couldn't believe their eyes that Issei took on 6 Type S Nova all by himself and came out on top. Through all their years as Pandora, the thought of fighting more than 1 Nova at the same time was unimaginable, heck, it was more close to a nightmare for even veterans. But this boy in front of them who fought 6 of them when he wasn't even old enough to drive yet and came out on top, it was then their respect for Issei practically skyrocketed since no doubt he was now officially 100 times stronger than his sister. Though they were confused since how could fight like that not catch the attention of Chevalier. Yumma. Shocked, how is that possible? If that was the case then Chevalier wouldn't know. Issei. Nods, you see, not all Novas cause dimensional disruptions when they enter our world, or at least not large or loud enough to catch Chevalier attention, and that's when I come in, I essentially take down the Nova that slips under Chevalier radar, so to speak. I even fought against those Type S long before Chevalier knew what they were. Yumma. Serious, and you still didn't say anything. Issei. Serious, I was asked not to interfere with you guys directly, but now things have changed and I'm telling you now. A.K.A. Serious, who told you? Issei. Serious, sadly I cannot tell you or anyone that, not yet at least. Yumma. Serious, in any case I still can't believe you've been doing this since you were 8 years old. Weren't you scared? Issei. Serious, of course I was scared, but I was given this power for a reason, and that was to help protect the people I care about the most. It was that thought that helped me get over my fear of fighting the Nova. Yumma. Smiles fondly, I see even after all these years you still haven't changed a bit and I'm glad for that. A.K.A. Smiles, I agree, now then it's time for that scan, now strip. Issei. Deadpanned, you know the way you say it makes it sound like you're gonna do something indecent, you know. How about you say please remove your clothing next time, will ya? It was then Issei removed his clothing until he was only in his boxers. Both Yumma and A.K.A. couldn't help but blush hard at the sight of seeing Issei's muscular body for the first time in full display. A.K.A. Blushes underwear too. Issei. Confused, what? A.K.A. Blushes while smirking, we need to make sure you don't have anything weird down there. Issei mind, deadpanned, what the buck does she think this shit is? Cyberpunk 2077. Issei. Confused, okay then don't you think that I should get an apron and that Yumma should leave? Yumma. Serious, oh shut up and stop complaining, be a man, goddammit, it's not like I haven't seen one before. Issei. Sighs, fine. It was then Issei finally removed his boxers and with his manhood out on display, both Yumma and A.K.A. couldn't help but have atomic blushes on their faces. Meanwhile, right outside, in the hallways outside of Dr. A.K.A.'s office, both student and faculty were casually walking by doing either duties or just simply passing through, but they all stopped in their tracks or fell comedically when they heard screaming from her office. Yumma A.K.A. In disbelief, Jesus fucking Christ, you're huge. Meanwhile, back in the office, both Yumi and Elise were absolutely gobsmacked on how big Issei's member was. It was then Elise grabbed Yumi by the shoulder and gave her a sly smirk while still blushing. Yumi. Surprised while still blushing, huh? Elise. Blushing while giving a sly smirk. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit jealous of you, Yumi, but I will say this, you are gonna be one happy and satisfied woman. Yumi. Having an atomic blush while being flustered. Issei. Annoyed while gesturing to his eyes. My eyes are up here. Issei mind, sweat drops. Why do I feel like that all the girls that I'm gonna meet from here on out are gonna be complete perverts, and this is gonna be a recurring thing. Senechange, West Genetics, simulation room. We see a woman who has back-length red hair and bluish-green eyes. She has long side locks reaching past her shoulders and bangs right above her eyes. She wears the standard genetics uniform. This girl was Ingrid Bernstein, otherwise the Guardian of Order, as well the 7th ranked among the 3rd years. Next to her was a boy with blue eyes and blonde hair. He is mostly seen wearing the standard limiter school uniform. This person was Leo Bernard and was Ingrid's limiter. They both had just finished their simulation training until Ingrid saw Ida and her limiter Mark standing in halls waiting for them. Ida. Smirks, you live up to your name, the protector of order, Ingrid Bernstein. It's no wonder you're the 7th ranked student. Ingrid. Serious, what the hell do you think you're doing here, Ida? Ida. Smirks, any reason I can't be? It sounds like you're not pleased to see me. Ingrid. Serious, excuse me. Ida. Smirks, one of our 1st and 2nd years needs protection. Ingrid. Serious, which ones? Ida. Smirks, the 1st is someone you already know of, the untouchable queen. The 2nd is a transfer student, but the students have already given him a name already. He's known as the Dragon of West Genetics. Ingrid. Serious, I see. Chapter 3. Order vs Chaos. West Genetics, 1 week later. Sadlizer Pav. It's been a week since Issei confronted me and offered me his proposition as well as his fight with Miyabi. I heard that he was at least let off with a warning since he was the one that didn't instigate the fight. Since then he's been known around campus as the Dragon of West Genetics, which after what I saw during the fight with Miyabi, I could see why. I couldn't help but wonder what was that power he was releasing. I saw that everyone else had looks of fear in their eyes when they saw the release of that power and the way his eyes changed, but to me I didn't feel any of that. No, for some reason that power was comforting to me, like it was trying to protect me from anything that would cause me harm. When I saw his eyes I saw more of the sadness and loneliness that he had buried deep within, but there was something else buried far deeper behind those crimson eyes of his fear, a fear so deep that he refuses to let anyone see it. It made me start to believe that maybe Issei is kind of like me, all alone and not really here to make friends, but unlike me he at least wants to try to help me come out of my own darkness, but that leaves the question, who will help him get out of his own darkness? Then I thought about his offer about him being my limiter. I will admit that we would both benefit from it, and not only won't I repeat the same incident that got me practically expelled from East Genetics, but I won't have to solely rely on Pandora mode in order to counteract freezing. Though a part of me was still confused on why he also didn't want to perform the baptism, since any other guy would be jumping for joy to experience such a union. It was then I decided to take a small late-night walk to hopefully clear my head. Issei memory, sad, and it's just that I'm not ready to be that close to someone again. Sadlizer mind, sad but curious, what does that mean? When I saw the look in his eyes I saw such never-ending sadness coming off of him. Is it possible that someone got close to him and broke him beyond repair? Was it that Momo girl he was talking to? Nods no, I can tell he was fairly happy when he told me her story. Thinking while a bit concerned, what is it that he is trying to hide from me? Blushes while nodding furiously, why am I so concerned about him? It's not any of my business. Looks up at the sky and wonder, but if truly wants us to be partners, then shouldn't he be honest with me? Would he tell me if I accepted? I mean, I don't feel those horrible sensations with him, and both of us don't want to perform the baptism, and we wouldn't even need to, since he can cast freezing areas without the Raynare set. What should I do? I was brought out of my thoughts on the matter when I heard someone coming up to me. The girl has back-length red hair and bluish-green eyes. She has long side locks reaching past her shoulders and bangs right above her eyes. She was wearing the genetics girl uniform. I could tell there was trouble coming my way as soon as she said my name. Ingrid. Serious, Sadlizer L. Bridget. Sadlizer. Serious, who are you? Ingrid. Smirk, silly me, where are my manners? Serious, my name is Ingrid Bernstein, you've probably heard of me. Sadlizer. Serious, are you here to avenge your slutty friend? Summons Volt weapon, if so, you're looking at the wrong person. Ingrid. Smirks while gently putting down her weapon, I'm known around here as the protector of order. Sadlizer. Serious, is that so? Ingrid. Smiles, I use my abilities to punish those who sow chaos, troublemakers like you and that boy who's known as the Dragon of the West, for example. Stolizer mind, serious, so she is after Issei. Ingrid. Serious, as a Pandora I protect order with every fiber of my being. Even though you weren't the one that caused the injuries to Miyabi, you were still there and just stood there doing nothing, which just makes you just as responsible. Though I guess I'm not surprised, since after what happened to you in East Genetics as well as you already causing trouble here, I guess it was inevitable that I would have to take care of you as well. I guess I'll be killing two birds with one stone. Find this dragon of the West and make him your limiter by noon tomorrow. Both of you will suffer for what you have done. Line break, third pav. It was then that both started walking off in opposite directions, not knowing that Keiho was hiding behind one of the walls, with her mouth closed out of shock from what she just heard. Keiho mind, shocked, did I really hear what I think I just heard? Line break, scene change, West Genetics, Hangar 14. Issei pav. It's been a week since my fight with Miyabi, and I made my offer with Satellizor. Since then I decided to give her some space in order to make her decision in peace and hopefully not give her unnecessary influence on her decision. Since the fight, the students at this school gave me a nickname, which was the Dragon of West Genetics, which made me and Drake smirk and chuckle a bit since they had no idea how right they were. Though I probably had both Arthur and Keiho essentially starting that nickname, since they essentially told everyone that I somehow manifested a dragon when I fighting Miyabi, which I didn't mind since I thought it would people an idea not to buck with me and leave me be. I was currently hanging out with Arthur in my new revamped hangar, which not only had a fully functioning garage so I can work on my bikes and cars, but it also had a fully working kitchen bar on the other side with a mini living room with 70 inches flat screen TV. I also had a workout area complete with all sorts of weights, though it was nothing compared to the gym I had in my room in the dimensional gap. I even had an upstairs with another living room, but I also had a piano and a few guitars hanging around the wall. Next to it was essentially a room with a bed and functioning shower and bathroom. I was looking at the data of all the current second and third years, since both Keiho and Arthur told me since I assaulted a third year despite how it happened, and that I essentially had a target on my back, even though I knew if I can most likely take on every Pandora in the world, especially if I went all out, I would prefer not to unless if it completely necessary. Though I would admit that the Pandora as a whole are nothing to shrug off, since they can easily take on the supernatural, if given the chance, as well as if any of them can use magic. Issei mind, thinking, let's see if I could give a rough guess. The top first years can easily take on low-level supernatural beings. The top second years can definitely take on mid-class beings, with the exception of Satellizor and maybe Ganessa, since they could probably take on certain high-class beings. The top third years, with the exception of Chiffon, can easily take on high-class beings. The fourth years could probably take low to mid-tier ultimate class beings, be it with some difficulties. As for top 5 ranking Pandora in the world, they can most likely take on ultimate class beings, with Chiffon being able to take on at least a Mao class being. Then there's my aunts, otherwise the legendary Pandora, who I can guess should be able to take on Satan class beings if they were to go all out. Greg. Curious, what about your sister, Arcadia? Issei mind, thinking if I wasn't here now then no doubt she would be the strongest Pandora in the world, since from what I can tell she's on par with a super devil. Greg. Thinking seems about right, especially from what we've sensed from her as well, the talks you had with your grandmother, then she's able to take on Cassandra and maybe another one of your aunts with little to no difficulties, and she's only 15. Just imagine how powerful she would be later down the line and with some training. Issei mind, nods, I would imagine she would be on par with at least Closindra in terms of power. Greg. Serious, that aside, who do you think is most likely gonna come after you when word gets out you took down that thought? Issei mind, serious, since this school runs on hierarchy and based on ranking, I don't think any third year will come after me unless they were ordered by someone who is higher up in ranking. Let's see, Chiffon is too laid back to let this get to her, and plus she has an idea what I'm capable of, but also knows I won't do anything unless provoked. Icy won't do anything without Chiffon's permission, and given she witnessed leak out a bit of my power, even she would know not to buck with me. Which leaves only one person that would be essentially giving out orders for the third year, Elizabeth Mabley, otherwise known as the executor of ingenious schemes, or the Empress. She's the second rank among the third years. Greg. Thinking, I'm guessing from not only her titles as well as just her personality, she'll most likely not confront you herself, since she still probably believes you're beneath her. Snickers, this should be interesting, the Red Dragon Emperor versus the Empress, now that's something I would pay to see. Issei mind, smirks, I will not lie that it does sound like a kick-ass movie, would definitely pay top dollar to see. Curious though, a part of me feels like I've seen her somewhere before. Serious, but you are right, Drag, Elizabeth wouldn't confront me directly given her status and what she thinks of me at the moment. Now the question would be, who would she send to teach me a lesson? Size of course. Issei. Size Ingrid Bernstein. Arthur. Confused who? Issei. Serious, the 7th rank student among the third years, Ingrid Bernstein, otherwise known as the Protector of Order. That's going to be the person who's gonna gun after me next. Arthur. Shocked, are you sure? If so, if I were you, you should just apologize and hope she doesn't beat you down as badly. Ingrid is a whole lot stronger than Miyabi, even if you do beat her, they'll just keep on sending more after you. Issei. Serious be that as it may, I won't back down from a fight, especially when it involves trying to disrupt my peace and quiet. Hey ho. Concerned, so you already heard. Issei Arthur. Curiousum. It was then both me and Arthur turned around to see Keiho at the entrance of the hangar with a concerned expression on her face. When she sat down, she explained how she overheard Ingrid and Sadalizer talking, and that Sadalizer was going to be punished for not stopping me beating down Miyabi, and she had until noon tomorrow to make me her limiter, and that we would have to fight her. I inwardly sighed, since one, I wasn't expecting them to make a move this quickly, and secondly, I didn't want to drag Sadalizer into my mess, and now she's going to be forced to fight a battle that should have been meant only for me, as well as being forced to make me her limiter, without having a clear decision if she even wanted to or not. Issei. Sighs. Well, this is turning into a total buckfest. Hey ho. Concern. Oh no, the untouchable queen is totally gonna ask for your help. You gotta say no when she does. Arthur. Serious, I'm with Keiho on this one, you should stay low at least until tomorrow. Issei. Serious, no. Arthur. Keiho. Shocked. What? Issei. Sighs. Look, I understand you guys are looking out for me, but I can protect myself, and no matter what these third years throw at me, I'll come out on top. Sips tea. Besides, we have until noon tomorrow, right? I'll just confront Ingrid then and tell her to stop, even if it means beat it into her. Issei mind, sad, and besides, after reading her file, I believe it's time that we met face to face and convinced her that what she was doing was not what Marin wanted. Boom. Issei. Sighs while deadpanning. Goddammit. Scene change. West Genetics, girls dominatory few minutes earlier. Third POV. Currently we see Sadalizer getting into a battle with Ingrid Bernstein. The reason being was that Sadalizer believed since Ingrid was the one that confronted her to battle, she should take the initiative, and since Sadalizer didn't have a limiter, she thought it was only right that she should fight Ingrid without her limiter. Though a part of her wondered why she was doing this in the first place, since she was only after Issei. She didn't have to do this, she could have easily just ignored it and let Ingrid just go after Issei, so why is she fighting a battle that was not entirely meant for her? She wanted to keep on telling herself that she was just repaying Issei for fighting Miyabi on her behalf so that she wouldn't get into more trouble, but it just didn't feel right to her. She was asking herself, was she really doing this to repay a debt, or was it that she didn't want to see Issei get hurt? Either way, she made her decision to take on Ingrid. She thought if she could get the drop on Ingrid without her limiter, she can at least stand a chance. Even if she was a third year, she was wrong. Almost immediately, Ingrid showed Sadalizer that even without her limiter Leo, she was no match for her. As she was easily able to push Sadalizer's body through the wall with just one hand, lucky Sadalizer was able to kick Ingrid off of her and land on her feet. Ingrid, intrigued by Sadalizer's combat capabilities, she summoned her Volt weapon Divine Trust, which are a pair of bladed tonfas. Sadalizer was caught off guard when she noticed Ingrid being able to produce powerful attacks while moving incredibly fast. It was then Ingrid kneed Sadalizer in the gut, which sent up into the air. Sadalizer tried countering Ingrid, but she was too fast and experienced, which resulted Sadalizer being slammed down to the ground while coughing up a little bit of blood. Ingrid. Serious, don't you even think about giving up on me. This fight isn't over until I say it is over. Sadalizer mind, serious, she's faster than me and her attacks are more powerful. There's no way I can beat her if I treat this like a normal fight. Sadalizer. Serious accelerator. Ingrid. Smirk, someone learned an upperclassment skill. It was then Sadalizer disappeared in a burst of speed, however Ingrid was unfazed by it since she knew this skill very well. All the while Sadalizer was trying to push herself to her limit in order to hopefully get the drop on Ingrid, but right as she was about go in for the attack, Ingrid cautiously moved her tonfa to the direction where Sadalizer's weapon was about to hit, only to shatter Sadalizer's weapon. Upon seeing this, Sadalizer quickly backed away in order to re-strategize her approach. Ingrid. Serious, I must admit, you executed that move pretty well. It's a shame you only know accelerator turn, it's the most basic speed specialization type we have at our disposal, it's common among the third year's powers up, in other words, it's completely useless against a Pandora like me. Tempest turn. It was then 4 copies of Ingrid came after Sadalizer. Sadalizer tried to use an accelerator to help outmaneuver her Tempest turn, but it was useless since Ingrid was able to attack from all sides, which caused to fall on the ground again. Everyone who was in the boys' dormitory that was watching couldn't believe their eyes that the untouchable queen was getting the biggest beatdown of her life. All while in the girls' dormitory, Ida watching the whole scene with a satisfying smirk on her face, since when she saw Sadalizer was already going after Ingrid, she hesitated to call Leo, but thought Ingrid was strong enough to put Sadalizer in her place without him, though she did wish that Issei was here so that Ingrid can really kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Ingrid. Serious, don't tell me you passed out already. Leo. Concerned Ingrid. Ingrid. Surprised Leo. If it was by some coincidence Leo, Ingrid's limiter, showed hearing all the commotion. Seeing this as an opportunity, the Saddleizer broke free from Ingrid's grasp, ready to attack again. Ingrid? Serious, you aren't giving up, huh? You don't have a chance in hell of winning this fight, you have to know that. I even gave you time to make the Dragon of the West your limiter, and you ambushed me, and that's why I'm going to engage the Rainbow set and wipe you out from the face of the earth. Saddleizer? Serious, Ingrid? Serious, fine, I'll give you one last chance seeing as we're right next to the boys' diminatory if you can find someone stupid enough to be your limiter. I'll wait until the baptism takes place. Looks at the crowd. Well boys, will none of you come to the aid of the untouchable queen? Issei. Smirks. I guess I'll throw my hat into the ring then. Everyone? Surprised, huh? It was then everyone turned to the source of the voice to see a handsome young man with spiky black hair with crimson red fringes alongside it. He had crimson red eyes and had a muscular build for a boy his age. He was wearing black jeans with matching combat boots and black fingerless gloves. He was wearing a black tank top with a black and red hoodie, with the sleeves rolled up to his forearms and a symbol of a red dragon on his back. He radiated an aura of confidence and domination and gave off the vibe of a complete bad boy. To say the girls in the area who were watching felt a bit hot would be an understatement. Even Ingrid couldn't help but madly blush at the sight of the boy in front of him. This boy was no other than Issei Aoi, who just arrived after hearing all the commotion coming from the hangar. Ingrid? Blushes. Who are you? Saddleizer? Surprised with a tinge of pink. Issei. Issei. Smirks with one eye closed. You couldn't wait until tomorrow, huh? Saddleizer. Saddleizer. Turns her head away shyly. Well, she challenged me, and so I acted, of course. Issei. Chuckles. Of course you did, Saddleizer, and I must say you did well against someone like Ingrid all by yourself. It's just as I thought, you had a real potential in you. Saddleizer. Whisper, blushes madly. Idiot. Issei. Chuckles. My smiles. As for you, Ingrid Bernstein, I believe that I'm the person you've been looking for. Ingrid. Shocked. You're the infamous Dragon of West genetics. Issei. Smiles. That's right, name's Issei. It's pleasure to meet you. Winks. Ingrid. Blushes. Serious. Be that as it may, you violated the rules, and as such, as the protector of order, I will take you down. Leo. Form the Rainbow set. Leo. Serious. Yes, ma'am. Free. Vroosh. Boom. Bonk. It is as if the jet just broke the sound barrier. Issei miraculously somehow appeared right behind Leo and knocked him out instantly. Everyone who was watching was beyond shocked since they didn't even see Issei move. He was moving so fast that not even Ingrid or Saddleizer could register how fast he was moving. Even Atsha, who was just watching everything go down, couldn't register what just happened to Leo, but she knew what that move was, but she couldn't believe that there was someone besides Chiffon who was able to use that technique. Atsha. Shocked. How is he able to perform an illusion turn? Saddleizer mind, shocked. There's no denying it. Issei just performed an illusion turn, the highest and most difficult speed specialization type to use, and only the strongest Pandora in the world can pull it off, with Chiffon being one of them. Just how many more secrets are you hiding, Issei? Ingrid. Shocked. Wow, what did you do? Issei. Blinks in confusion. Smiles. Well, that's quite simple really. I thought since Saddleizer was fighting you one-on-one, I think we should as well. Seems fair, right? So I just used my illusion to quickly knock him out for the time being. Ingrid. Serious. I see, so the rumors are true. Even though you're a boy, you have the same abilities as a Pandora. Annoyed. You damn abomination, why must you disrupt the natural order of things? Issei. Smirks. Well, what do you expect? I'm a dragon, I essentially embody chaos, and dragons are beings filled with untamed chaotic energy, and just like the term chaos, we dragons, we are untamed by nature. We live and do as we please with no one to stop us. Not even God himself can't stop us from doing as such, unless risking his own life in the process. So you go ahead and allow yourself to be chained up by the narrow-minded and hypocrisy known as order, whereas I will experience true freedom. Greg. Grins. Damn straight, you tell them, little brother. Ingrid. Smirks. I guess in that case I better chain you up like a good little dragon. Trust me, you may act cute, but just because you can perform an illusion turn doesn't mean you have the advantage. Issei. Raises an eyebrow. Okay, first of all phrasing, and second, bitch buck you, I'm adorable. Ingrid. Annoyed. Why, you little tempest turn. It was then another 4 copies of Ingrid heading straight towards Issei, who was completely unfazed with the attack. Issei. Serious. Tempest turn. What happened next shocked everyone even more. There were now 10 copies of Issei charging right back to Ingrid. Everyone was at a loss for words on how powerful Issei truly was and just how many tricks that this guy had under his sleeve. Ingrid, who shook out of her surprised and thought she could maybe still outmaneuver Issei's Tempest turn, since she guessed he hasn't enough time to properly train how to use it properly, she was dead wrong. Not only was Issei's superior numbers overwhelmed her, but he was able to synchronize with them with complete harmony with one another. In the end, Ingrid was beaten at all points, and she ended up skidding to the other side near Saddleizer. Everyone watching couldn't believe their eyes that the first year, who was a boy, was able to be the 7th rank 3rd year with little to no effort and without using a volt weapon. Sadlies her mind, in awe that was amazing, he took her out like she was nothing. Just what did he have to do in order to get this strong? Issei, serious, I think that's enough, wouldn't you agree, Ingrid? Ingrid. Angry while trying to get up. No, as someone who has sworn to protect order, I will not back down because those who flaunt the rules will abandon their comrades. It is my duty to make sure that pointless deaths will never happen again by purging people like you from our ranks. Issei. Angry, will you shut the fuck up? Ingrid. Surprised, huh? Everyone else. Shocked, huh? Issei. Annoyed, can you for one damn minute stop talking about maintaining order? We both know damn well you're not doing this for the sake of order. Sad, and just like we both know Marin wouldn't want this. Ingrid. Shocked, how do you know about her? Annoyed, you have no idea what you are talking about. Vanessa. Sad, and he does, Ingrid. Everyone except Issei. Surprised, huh? It was then everyone except Issei turned around to see Ganessa Roland coming in with a sad expression on her face. Ingrid. Annoyed, what are you talking about? Vanessa. Sad, and Marin never called back into formation because she told them to run. This boy you are fighting right now is the Red Nova Slayer, and he was there when Marin died. Ingrid. Shocked, the Red Nova Slayer. Issei. Sad, and while nodding, that's right, I was there the night Marin died, and her death still haunts me to this day because she was my second biggest failure since I couldn't save her along with the rest of the first years who died that night. Ingrid. Sadlies her mind, confused his second. Issei. Sad, and while nodding him. Flashback 1 year ago, we see a 15-year-old Issei Haidu clad in his Volt armor, sprinting at full speed through a forest in Japan, since Type S somehow was able to slip through both his Chevalier and his parents' radar. From what the intel he got from his dad was that there were a bunch of first-year Pandoras out there doing a training camp by taking out Type S dummy Novas, which made Issei try to double his speed. Issei mind, panicking, damn it, how could this have happened? This has never happened before. Both me and you along with mom and dad have been keeping an eye out for any dimensional disruptions, no matter how small, but this Type S was able to slip through. Greg. Serious, calm down, Issei, panicking will not do you or any of us any good. All we can do now is hurry up and stop Nova from possibly killing any more people. Issei mind, sighs, I know Drake, it's just so aggravating. Even with all this power I'm afraid I'll never be strong or fast enough to save the people I care about. Serious, I refuse to make the same mistake I made with Kazuha. As Issei rushed through the forest, he noticed to his left that a bunch of first-year Pandoras and Limiters were running in the opposite direction, including a long-haired pink girl who was staring right at him in disbelief. This made Issei sigh in a little bit of relief, since the majority of them were smart enough to just run away. When he finally reached the Type S, he saw there was a single girl fighting and was barely holding her own. The girl possessed a moderate build as well as short light-colored hair and dark eyes. She wore the standard genetics uniform consisting of a dark dress, thigh-high socks and high-heel shoes. This girl was Marin Maxwell, a second year, as well as the platoon leader of the group of first years that Issei just saw running away. She ordered them to run away since none of them were ready to fight a Nova. Though she was no better, especially with Limiter Albert already dead, she was determined to fulfill her role as an upperclassman to make sure the first years got away safely. Issei, seeing this, decided to intervene and tell her to run back with her platoon. He summoned his sword Draconic Revolution and began attacking where the Nova Corps was protected. Marin. Shocked, what the? Issei. Serious, get out of here, I can take care of this. Marin. Shocked, who the hell are you? Issei. Serious, that doesn't matter, right now you need to get out of here and regroup with your platoon while you still can. Marin. Serious, you can't take this thing on by yourself, let me help. Issei. Serious, trust me, I can handle this, you're not ready for this fight, yet if you stay you'll just be dead weight, get out of here now. Marin. Annoyed, no way. It was then Marin charged right at the Nova, surprising Issei. Issei. Shocked, what are you doing? Marin. Serious, performing my duty as a senior. Issei. Annoyed, I already told you that you're not needed to get out of here while you still can. Don't get it, you stupid girl, don't be a hero and throw your life away for a fight you have no chance of winning. Marin. Annoyed, no, you don't get it. Issei. Surprised, huh? Marin. Serious, I'm a Pandora and as such it is my duty to destroy the Nova so that humanity can live to see another tomorrow and children can wake up where they don't have to live in constant fear. If I were to run away now I would be throwing away everything that I stand for. Issei was both shocked and in awe of this girl's resolve to perform her duty as a Pandora to the very end. It was then he couldn't help but see a visage of his sister next to her. It was then they decided to work together to take down the Nova, though sadly, Marin couldn't keep up with since even after performing an accelerator turn, once she started to slow down drastically. But it became worse when they finally broke down the Nova's armor and exposed the core. It was then the Type S focused its tentacles straight towards Marin. Issei saw this and tried to hurry up and save her, even with his own accelerator turn, but it seemed that Nova was able to time its attack perfectly, and sadly Issei was too late and the Type S was able to cut Marin in half. Enraged that he failed to protect the person in front of him just like his sister, he activated the boosted gear and boosted his power so that he could quickly destroy the Nova. When it was over he went over to Marin's corpse who was still alive but barely hanging on. Marin smiles weakly. Did we take it down? Issei shedding tears under his helmet. Yes we did. Marin smiles weakly. And the little girls are okay as well? Issei nods. Yes, you were able to get them out okay. You performed your duties as an upperclassman perfectly and in my eyes you were a true Pandora through and through. Marin smiles weakly. That's good. Hey, what's your name? Issei shedding tears under his helmet. It was then Issei decided to remove his helmet since he knew this girl in front of him would not live for much longer even if the school were to make it on time. Marin was a bit surprised that the person who helped her was a handsome black and red spiky-haired teenage boy with red-crimson eyes who she can tell was younger than her by at least a year but was quickly saddened when she saw tears in his eyes. She could see that this boy felt like he failed in order to save her. Issei shedding tears. My name is Issei Haidu. Marin smiles weakly. Issei, what a beautiful name. My name is Marin Maxwell, it's an honor to meet you. Issei sobs. Why Marin? Why didn't you just run away when I told you to? You could have lived with the rest of your platoon. Marin smiles weakly. Because like I told you I'm a Pandora and it's my duty to protect humanity with everything I have even if it's the cost of my own life. Hey Issei, can you promise me something? Issei sheds tears. What is it? Marin smiles weakly. Promise me that you'll protect them, the little girls. Issei nods while smiling sadly. I will. I promise to look after them so that something like this won't happen again. Marin smiles weakly. Thank you Issei. Ingrid concerned Marin. It was then Issei saw in the distance a red-headed girl running towards their direction along with the reinforcements. Seeing that, Issei put on back his helmet and told Marin that he had to go. Issei saddened. I'm sorry Marin, but I have to go. Marin smiles weakly. Just remember to keep your promise. Issei nods. I will. That was when Issei quickly made his back into the forest far enough so that he could activate a magic circle back into the dimensional gap without anyone noticing. All the while back with Ingrid and Marin, the reinforcements were confused on how the Type S Nova was destroyed until one of them said they saw a person in red and black armor heading past the destroyed, which most of Pandora's suspicions that it was no doubt the Red Nova Slayer doing. As they were investigating the wreckage, poor Ingrid was sobbing of the loss of her friend and that she blamed the first years for abandoning her. Flashback end. Once Issei was done finishing his tale on what happened that night with Marin, everyone was both speechless and saddened by what Issei had to go through. Ingrid was the most saddened since now she knew that Marin could have escaped, but she decided to stand her ground and fight the Nova, even if it meant certain death. But a part of her felt proud of Marin, since after what Issei told her with her last breath, in that she was a true Pandora through and through, it made her felt that she didn't die in vain. Issei saddened. So now you know, Marin didn't die in vain. When I fought with her, even though it was short, it was like fighting alongside my sister. Ingrid confused. Your sister? Sadlizer saddened. That boy's name is Issei Aoi. Ingrid confused. Aoi eyes widen in realization. Wait, don't you mean? Issei saddened while nodding. That's right, my sister was Kazuha Aoi and she was my biggest failure. On the night of the 8 Nova clash I begged her to not go and that I would take care of her since she was essentially the only family that I had. It was then she told me that it wasn't just stigmata that she carries on her back and she carries the hopes and dreams of the whole world. Sheds a single tear. Those were her last words to me before she knocked me out when I let my guard down, and by the time I came to it was already too late. So Ingrid, I ask you this, what do you carry on your back? Everyone was both shocked and heartbroken from what Issei just said. To think if he didn't just let his guard down, his sister would still be alive right now. Sadlizer was probably the most saddened by this, since she now understood why Issei wanted her to be his partner, because with her Issei can feel that he is fighting to protect the world that his sister sacrificed to save. Sadlizer mind, saddened Issei. Ingrid serious. What do you carry? Issei curious. Ingrid serious. You asked me what I carry on my back. So I'm curious what someone like you carries on your back. Issei closes his eyes. I see. Looks to starry night sky. I carry the infinite hopes and the unbreakable everlasting dreams of the whole world. Reaches his hand out while grasping the stars. My goal is to become the strongest so that the people I love and care for will never have to worry about fighting in order to live, and one day I want to guide them towards the path of heaven, glowing in deep crimson. Serious, that is what I carry on my back, and that is my way of doing things, the way of the Red Dragon. As such, I will protect people I care about, and I don't care what I have to do it. It doesn't matter if it's the Nova, Chevalier, or even God himself. Nothing will stop me from protecting the people I care about. Everyone was in both awe and amazement in Issei's words, and not just from his speech, but in the look in his eyes when he said them. They were filled with so much raging passion and had undying will to make it happen and see it through. This struck something in both Ingrid and Sadalizer, in which with Ingrid, she started to realize that her and Issei were not so different and that he does bring order but in his own way. Sadalizer couldn't help but feel her heart tighten when Issei said those words and the look in his eyes that were filled with so much passion and so much determination. She wanted to feel that same way as well, she wanted to have that confidence and strength that Issei had. As she was thinking about this, she didn't realize that Issei was essentially right in front of her and offering his hand with a caring heartwarming smile. Issei smiles warmly while holding his hand knee to hand Sadalizer. Sadalizer flustered Issei chuckles do you always stare off in the distance like that? Sadalizer blushes shyly no I just thought your speech was very inspirational as all hesitantly takes his hand. Issei smiles I must admit she's pretty cute when she's like this. Issei smiles fondly why thank you chuckles nervously sorry that you got dragged into all this. Sadalizer confused what do you mean? Issei smiles nervously the only reason why you ended up fighting Ingrid in the first place was because she was after me. I didn't want you to get roped into my problems since I know you mostly want to be left alone and I didn't want this situation to force you to make an unsure decision about my offer. Sadalizer blushes it's not your fault and besides she was after me too so don't think I was only doing it just for you. As for your offer I'm still thinking about it. Issei smiles warmly in that case please take your time and like I said you know where to find me when you have your answer. Welp I think there's been enough excitement for one night don't you think so I'm heading to bed waves while walking away night Sadalizer. Sadalizer blushes right good night Issei. As Issei and Sadalizer were going their separate ways Atsha who was watching was still a bit aggravated about the results and that she needs to think of something else in order to put this delinquent in his place. Atsha annoyed damn it he was able to defeat Ingrid with no effort whatsoever. I can't report back to Elizabeth with this she'll be furious. No, I need another plan for this boy in his place. Issei serious how about just simply leaving him alone? Atsha shocked When Atsha turned around she couldn't believe her eyes when she saw Issei standing inside her room with an annoyed expression on his face and his eyes becoming slits. Atsha shocked how the hell did you get in here? Issei serious that doesn't matter what matters is that I'm giving you and the rest of the third year a warning annoyed leave me the hell alone or else I will give you and the rest of the third year a reckoning that you will never forget got it? Seeing the anger in Issei's eyes Atsha nodded instinctively out of fear it was then Issei walked over the window to leave. But he left and decided to give Atsha one last message. Issei serious and tell your empress that if she has that much of a problem with me then she should do it herself instead of just sending some lackeys to take me on. But that said Issei left through the window to head back to his own to get some sleep. Once Issei left Atsha fell to her knees trying to catch a breath that she had no idea she was holding. Atsha scared while catching her breath this boy is a goddamn monster. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching, if you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day bye.